Hi, Next Gen Leads. My name is Roberta Domingues and I am Brazilian. I just finished my master in strategic leadership towards sustainability. And today I'm super excited to be here with Vinh Tho, founder of the Eurasia Learning Institute for Happiness and Wellbeing. Thank you, Tho, for your contribution. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, your work, your role, or any interesting activity that you are involved with?
Thank you, Roberta, and thank you for having me. So as mentioned, my name is Vinh Tho. It's a Vietnamese name originally. I am the founder of the Eurasia Learning Institute for Happiness and Wellbeing. We are based in Switzerland, but we work internationally. Before creating this institute, I used to be in Bhutan, the country of gross national happiness, and I was the program director of the Gross National Happiness Center. And what I do currently is trying to implement what I've learned in Bhutan in various fields in education, both in primary schools, high schools, universities, in businesses, and I will share a story of how we implement gross national happiness in business, but also in politics. We have created a program for different provinces in Switzerland to implement gross national happiness at the provincial level in Switzerland. So we have a team of people who are very dedicated to bring about a paradigm shift in society, because we believe that the challenges that we're facing now need a very strong paradigm shift, and we believe that happiness and well-being should be the focus of society rather than just economic growth and profit. So this is who I am, and this is what I do.
Wow, thank you. And please share your story about your professional story that you mentioned about the gross national happiness in business, and bring us this enlightenment about using systems thinking and ethics and values for change.
So in order to do that, I have to go back a little bit and say a few words about gross national happiness. So the fundamental idea of gross national happiness is actually a very simple one. It's the idea that development should have a goal, and that the goal of all development is happiness for all people and well-being for all life forms. And that economic growth, technology, innovation, and so on, they are all very important, but they are not goals, they are means. To achieve the goal should be happiness and well-being for all. And so this brings a shift of awareness, because instead of focusing as a business, for instance, only on financial return, you start to focus your attention as a business on the contribution that the business can do for society, including your co-workers, your shareholders, but also the environment and society at large, and of course the ecosystem and the planet. So what we do is we support businesses who want to implement the values and the framework of gross national happiness into their businesses. And it is a real system-wide transformation. So I will give you one example. We have many examples, but I will give one example. It's a shoe factory based in Vietnam. It's the largest shoe factory in Vietnam. It's called Biti. And Biti has 8,500 co-workers, and is producing 25 million pair of shoes a year. So it's a large company. And the CEO of Biti, which is a lady, a relatively young lady in her early 40s, had participated in a workshop that I gave on gross national happiness in Vietnam. And after the workshop, she came to me and asked, do you think we could implement gross national happiness in my company? So it's a family-owned company. And it was founded by her parents, and she's the heir of the company, and now she's the CEO. And as there was a generation change, they thought it's a good moment also to change the way we manage the company and the whole vision and mission of the company. And so, with our elite team, we agreed that we would support the company in transforming towards gross national happiness. So we worked on several levels. One level is looking at the mission and the vision and the mission, so that the senior leadership is aware that we don't only focus on economic dimensions, financial dimension, which of course we also have to focus on because it's a business. So if you're not doing well economically, the business would ultimately close and 9,000 people will lose their jobs. So of course, it's important that it's economically successful. But it's not enough to only look at the economic dimension. And we introduced them to what is called in gross national happiness, the 4 pillars. So one is, yes, financial sustainability. But the second one is the company culture. So, what is the culture, the management culture, the company culture, the values, and so on. The third one is the ecological impact of the company. And the fourth one is the good governance, so that all the decisions that are taken at strategic level for the company really take into consideration the social, ecological, and the values that we want to promote. So we agreed on that. And then the question was, how do we implement that? So we implemented in 3 ways. The first one was we created a management training for all the senior managers. It's a year-long training. And I wrote like a management manual, which has 12 competencies. And each month we worked through 1 competency. And so the first competencies were about self-awareness, mindfulness, self-knowledge, but also self-management, and also self-care, because it's important that the managers feel well, that they are, they have a balanced life, that so on. Then these were like the first 4 months. Then the second part of the training is about awareness of others. So again, we develop competencies like listening skills, empathy, social awareness, relationship building, communication skills, teamwork, things like that. Yeah? So that to improve the management culture. And then the third part of the training is about responsible decision making, so that in each decision that we take, we are aware of the ecological impact, of the social impact of the. So that was one part. So we worked for a whole year with the senior management once a month, and then they always had kind of a homeworks to do between the sessions. And they had peer coaching, and they had and so on. So that was all set up so that there was a real, development, management competencies development. That was one point. The second thing that we did was we worked on redefining what we measure. As long as you only measure financial outcome, all your attention is focused on finances. But we introduced the so-called 9 domains of gross national happiness. That give a very holistic measurement of how the impact of the company, for instance, in the field of health, in the field of time use, in the field of community vitality, in the field of ecology, and so on and so forth. So that we set up a new set of indicators and KPIs that give a very holistic perception of the impact of the company internally and externally. So how does it affect the well-being of the own co-workers, and how does it affect the well-being of society and of nature? And because we have new sets of indicators, the way we take decisions is different, because we have other tools to measure the impact of what we're doing. And the third thing that we did, we called that G&H ambassadors. So each year we are training 30 staff members, and that's across the organization, not only managers, but really at all different levels, that become the ambassadors of this new development paradigm of the institution. And so what they have to do is they communicate, they train, and they organize specific events. So for instance, I said there's 9 domains of GNH. For instance, one domain is education. So what did they do? They created a free event where all the co-workers who wanted to join could, on their work times, have a whole day on education, so that they got better skills to take care of their children. Because if the co-workers are happy at home, and we have many, I would say 80% of the staff are ladies. It's shoe factories, it's like fashion and so on and so forth. It's mainly women. Many of them are young mothers. So all these young mothers, they could get a free training with pediatricians, psychologists, educators, how to better take care of your kids. Or many of the staff come from the countryside. It's the first time they're in the city. It's the first time they have a paid job. And they don't know how to deal with their finances properly. They feel they have a lot of money, and then they buy an expensive phone or something, and then they get into debts and so on and so forth. So we gave a free workshop on how to finance, how to deal with family finances. Or another indicator is health. So we give free traditional medicine course, with free massage and diet, and how to keep your health, Qigong exercise, and so on. So many things like that, so that the co-workers can see it's not just an idea, happiness and well-being. It does change my daily life. So you see, as a management level, we're working on strategic dimensions like vision, mission, measurement, KPIs, but at staff level, a lot of them are just factory workers, not very educated, simple people. We had to provide something that they feel it changes my daily life. For instance, they have factory restaurants, so we introduced much healthier food in the factory restaurants. Then all the factories now have factory gardens where they produce their own vegetable. So many things like that. So very hands-on, practical things, a mix of like high-level strategic vision. What is the contribution of our business to the well-being of all, internally and externally, and then very practical programs so that the workers can experience the change. And to conclude, what really I was very impressed with what that the COVID crisis happened, and because this business, they have their own shops where they sell their own shoes. Plus, they do a lot for export, but their main business is selling their shoes in their own shops in Vietnam, and they had to close all their shops because there was the lockdown. Oh. So the business was absolutely going down. They had hardly any revenue. So, of course, everybody was very worried. And I spoke with the CEO, and I asked her, so, okay, what's your priority now? And she said, whatever happens, I will not fire anyone. We will keep all the staff, because my main responsibility is the well-being not of 9,000 people, but of 9,000 families. And if I fire any of the staff, the whole family will be, in a really difficult situation. So, when she told me that, I was very moved, because, she was not thinking about her capital, her money, her whatever, turnover, benefits. She was really generally thinking about the well-being of her people, saying, okay, no matter how hard it is, we will keep everyone. We might reduce a little bit the work time, we have to do measures, but we will keep everyone. And now in Vietnam, the lockdown is over, business has started again. And due to the fact that she has not, reduced her staff, she can right away be fully operational, and people are very engaged because they saw that in a difficult situation, she was there for them. And happiness and well-being was not just a word, but it was actually the way she was managing her business. So that was, I think, really a win-win experience, and a real proof that you can do good and at the same time being financially successful.
Wow. I know this end was already kind of a last key message, but do you have like a key message that you want people take from this story?
I think that the most important thing, also for those who work in business, is to realize that you cannot be truly successful if you don't try to have a success in all the various fields, not just financial, but really the financial success should be in the service of happiness and well-being of your own staff, but also of society at large. Because in the end, the business is there to serve society, not just to serve yourself. And I believe that the more a business really has this altruistic or service attitude, on the long run, it will be more successful and more sustainable. And no business can forget now about the ecological challenge. So, you know, if you are financially successful, but you are destroying the environment while being financially successful, on the long run, you will run out of business, because without nature, there's no business.
Yeah, we are all interconnected.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your super inspiring story and your collaboration with us.
Pleasure.
And for closing, I want you to share with us how people can practice ethics, values, self-awareness, or even bringing well-being and happiness. Do you have a practice that you can recommend?
So I think that it's very important to, especially for business people who are very busy, work hard, work a lot, overwork, many of them, to really take moments of silence and looking inwards and regularly asking yourself, what is truly important? What kind of legacy would I want to leave behind once I'm gone? It's usually not just money, you know. So take moments off, maybe just, you know, go for a walk in nature, sit under a tree, and even if it's only in a park or in a garden, close your eyes, listen inward, and ask yourself, what is truly important in my life? And then ask yourself, how can I align what I do with what is truly important for me? Not just being, you know, responding to outer demands and so on and so forth, but really trying to act from within and create space for your coworkers, for your team to do the same. Because if the whole team aligns around common values, common intentions, common goals, then the outcome which will be much more successful.
Thank you. Thank you. Next Gen Leads, this was one more of our interviews. See you in the next one.
Okay. Bye-bye.